Hello all, welcome to my channel Step by Step. My name is Khanam and in this entire section, I will be showing you the complete roadmap to get started with JavaScript. Before understanding or getting started with roadmap, let's see why should we use JavaScript. So if you want to get started into web development, basic stuff to make our website interactive, JavaScript programming language is used. And if you're having little bit understanding of HTML and CSS, you can get started with creating dynamic website. You can add lot of interactivity to your web pages. You can enhance user experience by providing whatever user needs. So basically, JavaScript is a programming language for the web, and using JavaScript, we can update our HTML code. We can give different stylings. When button is clicked, we can give different backgrounds. We can do lot of dynamic stuff. Also, we can do some validation. We can manipulate the data and we can display the content which is required for the user. If you want to get started into your web development career, you should be having understanding of JavaScript. You should learn JavaScript. So if you want to get started with web development, you should learn JavaScript. Without JavaScript, you will not be able to add dynamic stuff in your websites. So JavaScript is a must programming language when you want to create any website. So for web development, we should learn HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So first what you can do, in isolation, you can learn about HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Later, you have to combine all these three and you have to get started building websites. HTML and CSS, I have already uploaded complete roadmap on my channel. If you want to watch and if you want to get started in that so that you can get started in your JavaScript field, then definitely you have to watch the roadmap and at least you should be having basic understanding on HTML and CSS. Only with using these three technologies, you can create amazing and dynamic websites. And most of the people, when they want to get started into web development or app development, whatever it is, software development, and they are very much scared, they should be having coding experience, they should be having prior understanding of coding or programming. But if you want to learn any programming language, definitely even if you're not having coding experience or programming knowledge, then also you can get started with learning programming language. Okay, this is the first step, and this is the fact you should be knowing. You should not be having any coding experience to learn new things. At any point, you can get started learning coding. At any point, you can start your programming career. So, for learning JavaScript, even if you're not having any coding experience, you can get started and you can learn from the basic and you can still create dynamic websites. But the basic requirement to get started with JavaScript is these four things. You should be having laptop or system so that you can create website, you can see the result in browser. You will be having lot of advantages. But for some reason, if you're not having laptop, if you're not having system, then there are multiple mobile editors. You can just explore them. You can install whatever suits for your requirement and you can practice in that. Because if you're not having system, but if you're curious to learn how JavaScript works, then nobody can stop you from learning the things. Okay, you have to find your ways and you should get started into your programming field. Then if you're having system, you should be having OS. You can either have Linux, Windows, Mac. Okay, in everywhere you can get started and you can get started into your JavaScript journey. Definitely code editor. But when you get started, all the basic requirements, we have browsers. Browsers are must, code editors, so that you will install by yourself. And HTML and CSS is a must. Not in advance, but at least if you're having basic knowledge, what elements are, how to display tags, how to display elements, how to display content for our website, then definitely this will be the plus point if you having understanding of HTML and CSS. But most important thing, keep in mind, you don't have to be expert in programming. Without zero skill or without zero knowledge in JavaScript or programming, you can get started with JavaScript. Then next, why roadmap? As I mentioned, JavaScript is a programming language. And when it comes to programming language, and if you have started from zero, then definitely you will think you should learn all the things. Whatever is present in JavaScript, you should learn all the things. But according to me, you should only learn the things which are required for you, which are suitable for your project. Later, maybe after 2 to 3 years, in which field you want to go. Okay, so before learning anything, you should be having the roadmap. You should be having a plan. Because in JavaScript, we have plenty and plenty of things. Because JavaScript is such a programming language that it is used both in front end as well as back end. Okay, back end you do not have to focus as of now. We are just going to focus on front end part. So in JavaScript, maybe we are having A to Z things. And in that, from D to M, maybe you do not need at all. When you start with your career, maybe you will not touch from D to M, but still you are stuck on that. You are continuously learning about that, and still you are not getting the proper result. So, that is the reason understanding programming language, understanding why you should learn programming language, and having the proper roadmap of that programming language will help you to ace everything. By the end of this section, you will be confident enough to get started with JavaScript. And also, if you already started with JavaScript and if you have learned all those things, you will be happy and you can learn more about those things and you can get started creating dynamic and amazing websites. If you have selected JavaScript as your first programming language, then definitely you will not regret selecting this one because there are a lot of things you can do using JavaScript. So your journey will not end here. Once you have seen all the roadmap, once you learned JavaScript, then you should start thinking like a developer. You have to refer applications, you have to refer the website and exact clone you should try to build only using JavaScript. So now let's understand this question. Why should we learn about this roadmap? Because you will be having true and deep understanding of JavaScript. You will know what are the concepts present in JavaScript and what are the things you should learn in JavaScript. And also, you have already started learning JavaScript but out of which you are not able to build the logic, you are not able to build the proper website, then also you should watch this roadmap because you will have lot of understanding and you will be having a proper plan to get started with JavaScript. And even after learning JavaScript, you are still not confident in building the real world apps, then you should watch this roadmap. First thing, you should understand why JavaScript, where JavaScript is used, what can we do using JavaScript, what is the power of JavaScript. Okay, if I just combine all the things in one, JavaScript will be adding power to our websites, power to our web pages. So you should understand the real power of JavaScript. Then understand role of JavaScript in web development. Without JavaScript, can you build website? Understand that without JavaScript, is it possible to build a website? Is it possible to run the website? Just understand basic things of JavaScript before writing code in JavaScript. Then from starting itself, you should learn about ECMAScript specification. Now, 2023, 2024, if you want to learn JavaScript from starting itself, we have ECMAScript specifications. We have ECMAScript specification in JavaScript. Every year, there are releases in JavaScript. So, starting itself, update yourself, understand what are the features added in those ECMAScript, directly get started using those things. Okay, again, you do not have to learn the old things, you do not have to implement in your projects, because now in modern days, we are not going to use old concepts. Whatever we are getting, like new features in ECMAScript, you definitely have to implement that. Previously, if we are having some old technology, now maybe in ECMAScript, we are having new feature for that. Understand old technology, do not practice, do not by heart, but implement these new technologies, new concepts which are released in these ECMAScripts. I will be showing you versions of JavaScript, so you do not have to worry. But from starting itself, get used to ECMAScript features, get used to ECMAScript concepts which are released every year. Then basics of JavaScript, you should be having understanding of how to link JS file, where JavaScript file is linked. Can we write JavaScript inside HTML? You should be having understanding of this. You should understand variables and its values, how to create variables, what are variables, how to assign values. Then comes data types. What data type of value we can assign to variables? Let it be string, integer, number. What type of data we should assign to these variables? And in JavaScript, we are having two types. We have primitive data types and we have non-primitive data types. In primitive data types, I think we have 7 types of data types. You should understand all those types. Then comes let, var, and const. Let and const are modern JavaScript. Nowadays, we use a lot. Var is not used. It was used in older website. It was used early days when let and const was not introduced. But you should understand var. But var you should not use in your real world projects or in any website whenever you are creating. You should not use var. We always use either let or const. You should only understand var, but you should not use in your project. So that is what I told. Old things you can just go through that, you can glance, but do not implement in your projects. Always use modern features to build your projects. Then also understand the differences between them, why var was cancelled and why let was introduced, why const was introduced. So you should understand the difference between them. Then you should understand operators. We have logical operators, mathematical operators. Understand operators. After understanding or doing some calculation using these operators, understand the precedence of operators. First, brackets will be resolved. Okay, it is like Bodmer's rule. So in JavaScript, we are having operator precedence. Understand about that. MDN documentation, you will be having from right to left, it will be calculated, or left to right, it will be calculated. According to that, values will be assigned or values will be calculated. So you should understand the precedence of that, but do not by heart. Okay, definitely programming languages, you do not have to by heart. Understand the concept and get started into implementation part. Then type conversion and coercion. And this is also very important because whenever you are creating website, maybe you are having some input field in which you want some user data. So when user is entering some number, the result will always be in string. So for number data, you should convert that string into number. For that, we have to do type conversion and also coercion. And when you learn about this, you will understand why these simple concepts are very important in larger projects. Then next comes conditional statements. We have if statements, we have switch statements, if else statements. So you should learn about that. Then ternary operator. So if you are using if else statement, and there we are having 3 to 4 lines of code. But using ternary operator, with only one line of code, we can finish our statement. So you can learn about ternary operator, then learn about strict mode. From starting itself, try to use strict mode in your project, because if you're having some errors, sometimes JavaScript will not catch those errors. But when you use strict mode, it will definitely catch the errors and it will display in console. So always use strict mode and understand about strict mode. Then learn about regular functions, how to create functions, how to call functions, what are the ways of calling function, where should we call function, declaring functions, what are parameters, arguments inside functions. Functions are very important. So you should learn as much as you can in functions. Then comes arrow function, new feature, ES6 feature. Then understand the difference between regular function and arrow function. So whenever we are using some higher order function, that I will come in a minute. So that time arrow functions are widely used. Learn both of these functions, regular functions and arrow functions, and based on your project requirement and based on your whatever logic, whatever plan you are making, according to that you have to select the function and you have to display the code. So when you are using these functions, there are always some limitations. Before creating the function, you cannot call the function. So according to that, you have to select the functions. So learn both of these functions, arrow functions as well as regular function. And also understand the differences between regular function and arrow function. Then comes iteration. You should learn about loops. We have for loop, we have while loop, we have do while loop. And apart from this, we have modern loops as well. We have for off loop, for each loop. Understand those things. Then comes array and its methods. Arrays are very, very important, because if you want to store multiple data inside one variable, we can use arrays and its methods. If you want to add some data, we can, if you want to add or remove some data from the array, we can use push, pop, shift, unshift methods. And also there are multiple array methods. And inside this, we are having higher order methods. We have map method, filter method, reduce method. These methods are very, very important. And if you want to get started with learning JavaScript framework, then also these higher order methods are widely used and every time it is used. So learning arrays and its methods is very important. Then comes objects and its methods. Objects also widely used. Key value pair. So that also you should understand. Arrays and objects are widely used concepts in JavaScript. After learning all these things, you should practice this one. Practice, practice, and practice. Okay, do not just learn and keep for yourself. Practice until you are comfortable. Then start writing simple programs. We are having lots and lots of questions. You can start writing star programs, star patterns. Okay, using arrays, you can display some data. Using objects, you can display some data. You can start writing simple project, so that concept what you have learned in theory or whatever you have learned by seeing tutorials or by reading some books, you have to implement in the concept, you have to implement in the programs, and you have to get the result. So start writing simple programs. After that, implement one project using arrays, objects, iteration, conditional statements. You can definitely build one complete website. Okay, practice building some projects using all these concepts. Then comes JavaScript behind the scene. Now, after learning all those things, after writing some programs, after building the project, after learning all those concepts, now you should be curious to know excited to know how JavaScript will be working behind the scene. For that, you should understand JavaScript engine and runtime environment. Okay, these are the theory part you should only understand. Execution context, call stack, we have scope chains, we have this keyword. This keyword is having different use cases whenever it is declared. Understand primitive versus objects. Okay, that is primitive versus non-primitive data type. These are the theory concept. Once you are comfortable with theory concept, just practically side by side implement those. See how JavaScript is working behind the scene. You will be surprised to know working of JavaScript behind the scene. At one point, you will get confused with this keyword, scope chains, why we are getting this result. This is not the result what I expected. So that is all fine. You have to make the mistakes to get started with programming language. If you're not making mistakes or if you're not getting any errors, you will not explore this language. If you get error, you will explore something, you will get to learn something new. Once you got the error, once you got the solution for that error, don't repeat that one. Try to prevent as much as you can. So this is the theory part. You should understand how functions are called, how it is stored, how it is called. Okay, everything you have to understand. Then comes versions. We are having different versions of JavaScript. ECMAScript 1. First, initial ECMAScript was released in 1997 and some minor corrections were made to JavaScript in 1998. And here we are having some things added in ECMAScript 3 and major feature was added in ECMAScript 6 2015. And after this one, JavaScript became very popular because of so many programming features, because of so many things. I have already uploaded video on ECMAScript on my channel, and also I will be providing you the link in the description. If you want to watch, if you want to understand the power of JavaScript, you can watch that videos. Okay, now after that, every year we are having releases. Now if you see here, 2000 after 1999, after 10 years we had this one 2009, after 6 years then we had 2015. Once JavaScript became very popular, they decided every year they will be releasing JavaScript version. So 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Now the latest version is ES14. So it keeps on going. And in every version you can see we are having different things added. And definitely I am not telling you to by heart the version numbers and what are the things released in these versions. Just you should know in ECMAScript 6 we had lots and lots of features in JavaScript added. But all these things you should learn, and at one point this optional chaining, nullish coalescing operator, all these things are very very useful. But really you do not have to understand these version numbers. Directly you can get started with learning these concepts. Then data structures, modern operators and strings you should learn. You can learn destructuring objects, destructuring arrays. Okay, I'm just telling the concept name. What are the things present in this? You should learn by watching the tutorials. Then spread operator, rest operator, short circuiting, as I mentioned, we have nullish coalescing operator, optional chaining. You can see all these things are released in different versions. So accordingly, you should learn this one. Okay, it was introduced in 2020 ES11. So those things also very important when you're working with larger objects. Short circuiting is very important. And when you get started with short circuiting, you will see the power of this one. And after learning this data structures, modern operators and string, just create simple project only using these 7 concepts. Then DOM events. DOM is the most important topic in JavaScript, because when you are creating dynamic website, if you want to change some data, you should be having understanding of DOMs. You should know how DOM will be working, what are the methods available, what are the properties inside the DOM, what are API methods. You should know how to select elements so that you can change the elements, how to create elements, delete elements, remove elements, and also you should be having understanding of DOM traversing, from parent to child, how to select elements, from child to parents, how to select siblings, how to select. Then styles. Using JavaScript, we can also change the stylings of elements. We can add attributes. We can change the attributes. We can do lot of stuff. Then event propagation, bubbling and capturing phase. You should understand how the events are traversed, from where the event will be starting, from where the click will be happening. You should understand. You should understand different types of events. Then you should understand event delegation. So when it comes to DOM, all the concepts are very important, but these concepts are widely used and you will be using almost every time. Then comes object oriented programming with JavaScript. Okay, that is OOPS concept. So in this, you should understand what are OOPS and how OOP is used in JavaScript. Constructor functions, very important. In that we have new keyword. You should understand how new operator will be working. Then prototypes and ES6 classes is a must. Then setters and getters. These concepts you should definitely learn when you get started with OOP JavaScript. Then inheritance between classes, between this one constructor functions, between classes ES6 classes, between classes object dot create. You should learn inheritance. There are many others, but learning this much is enough. Then encapsulation you should learn. In that you should be learning all this protected method, private methods and everything. Then we have chaining methods. Also we have static methods. JavaScript OOPS is a concept in itself, but these are the fundamental concepts you should learn to get started with JavaScript OOPS. And after this, once you learn OOPS, then you will feel JavaScript is very easy and easily you can implement the things. Then asynchronous JavaScript, we have promises, we have async await, we have Ajax. So having knowledge on asynchronous JavaScript is a plus point. So understand what is asynchronous JavaScript, what are promises, what are async await, what is Ajax. All these concepts already I have uploaded videos on my channel. I will be providing you the link in the description, as well as you can explore the channel. You will be getting lots of videos on JavaScript tutorial. In this, you should learn what is XML HTTP request, what is callback hell, event loops, fetch API, chaining promises, and also how to handle the errors using try and catch blocks. So all these concepts I have already uploaded. You can watch the videos or else you can explore YouTube. You will get tons and tons of videos on this particular topics. Then comes JavaScript frameworks. Now, if you are comfortable with JavaScript, you have built lots and lots of projects, you have started with OOPS JavaScript, you have created dynamic website using learning DOM events, then you should get started with JavaScript framework. You can select any one of the framework. We have React, we have Angular, Vue.js, we have Stilt. Any one of this framework you can select, but I would suggest go with React, but it completely depends on your choice. When you are using frameworks, additionally, you will be having lot of code present for you. Using that things, You can apply all the JavaScript knowledge and you can build dynamic or single page applications. Select any one of the framework. Do not have to learn all four or whatever is present. Select any one of the framework and get started with that framework, because in that also we are having lots and lots of things to learn. After doing all these things, you should definitely start building the real world project. Start referring to the website. Start making clone of websites. Okay, making clone, you will be having lots of knowledge, and also you can build the games using JavaScript. So when you are building games or when you are doing a clone of website, then you will apply lot of logic, because the flow diagram will be in your mind. Okay, you do not have to think about the flow. If you are making a clone, you will be getting to know, if I log into this website, this is the result it is going to display. If I click on this, this will be the result that is going to display. So a kind of flow chart you will be having in your mind. Just try to implement the logic, try to build the project. After learning all these things, building projects and practicing is very, very important. If you do not do that, you are just going to forget everything. So, what you should do, you should build real world projects, okay, which has to be used or which should be having some meaning. You should build that kind of projects. Then keep learning and stay updated. Whatever versions we are having, what is the latest version of ECMAScript, what are the feature added in that, why that feature is added, how to use that features. You should always keep yourself updated. Only thing I would suggest it, get started now. Now you are having time. Do not waste it. Get started. Learn something new. Develop yourself. Upgrade yourself. Just get started now. Later you should not be having any regret. So you are the one, you should be working on your dreams. So do not waste your time. This is the right time to get started. So just start it. Now that's all for this section. If you have watched all these things and if you have already made a plan to get started with JavaScript, all the best. I really wish you all get the things which you dreamt of. So, to get all those things, start working right now. Thank you so much for watching this. All the best for your JavaScript journey.